In honor of Michelle Trachtenberg's passing, I watched the 2006 version or adaptation of Black Christmas, which is a remake of the 1970s classic slasher film about a group of sorority girls who are murdered in their, or there's a slasher on the loose. So this takes place around Christmas time. There's a sorority house. It's the end of the semester. It's wrapping up. People are going home. Some people are sticking around, and there's a killer on the loose, Billy Lentz, who his family originally owned the house. He ended up slaughtering his parents for undisclosed reasons and was, carted off to the mental institution. He, of course, escapes, makes his way back, begins a frenzy. But it seems like there may be more than one killer on the loose. This, of course, starred Michelle Trachtenberg, the great Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who has power bangs in every 2000s film she was in. Also starred Katie Cassidy and Lacey Chabert. So these were, icons of the 2000s. It's pretty gruesome, a lot of it, but somehow a little bit slow at the same time. It's only an 85-minute feature. But man, I was a little bored. I was like, I should have picked a better Michelle Trachtenberg movie to watch, but here we are.
Yeah. I think Black Christmas is a movie that has evaded me. I'm going to be honest. Like when Andy first told me, I watched this with Michelle Trachtenberg in it, I Googled it and I came up with the more recent remake, which was, when did you say, 2015?
2019.
2019, yeah, which is completely overwritten like any Google searches for this movie. And then you go looking back further, and there's actually an older version from like the 50s, right? With Bob Clark
70s.
had. Yes, like, so there's a few Black Christmases for sure, but I didn't know a lot about this one. I didn't know it had anything to do with the Final Destination producers. Yeah, knowing Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in it, it makes a little bit more sense. But looking at the trailer, it just looks a whole lot like sorority house girls have a bunch of stuff go wrong, right? It's Christmas themed. Was this a weird, I mean, it's got to be a weird out of season watch for you, right? I know you're watching it obviously because of Michelle Trachtenberg, rest in peace. But I mean, Christmas in what, February?
Yeah, so it came out on Christmas Day back when it came out, and there was lots of uproar about that. It's strange because it's a mix of Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like the Billy Lentz character is Michael Myers ripoff, but then they make an effort to make the family as kind of twisted as possible. Like Billy Lentz is born yellow, like he has jaundice, and then his skin is permanently yellow. And his mother and her lover kill his father and bury him in the house, and like under the house, and they lock him upstairs forever. It gets really kind of unnecessarily dark. It was a lot of times, particularly in like the 70s and 80s, they didn't really know what to do new with horror movies, so they would do this something that you'd already seen before, but just try to make it as twisted as possible. And it kind of it's a little nasty, yeah, even for someone who loves horror. It's just like unnecessarily gross. And also it's a whole lot of like violence against women, which isn't really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it felt kind of gross watching it, honestly.
Yeah, I wanted to know. I was going to say the violence looks pretty gooey. I could see that for sure. Is it sexy at all? It didn't look like a particularly sexy movie. Like it just kind of looks like a gooey, gory.
So it definitely
Scream queen.
seemed a little bit more progressive than a lot of those slashers used to be, which would definitely exploit female nudity. I think there's like one like half nude scene. None of the stars get naked. I was actually Mary Elizabeth Winstead dies off screen. She dies like she's in a car, and you just see like the blood splatter the inside of the car, and then you never see her again.
That's a bummer.
So yeah, I was like that. But yeah. It was a whole lot of kind of, it's really unnecessarily grisly, kind of for no reason, and it just kind of goes on to it. There are way too many people in this movie. I could not keep anyone apart. They don't really name anyone, and they're like, oh, it's Heather and Claire and Melissa and Dane. Like, there's like 10 people in this house, and I was like, who? And they're like, so and so's upstairs. I was like, I have no clue who that is, and there's like 3 blonde women, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like we just mentioned in our Najatu review, like the importance of like good character silhouettes that everybody looks and feels distinctly different from one another. Looking at the IMDb run up for Black Christmas, I was like, I have trouble seeing just who all's in this movie here on this list, like because everybody starts to look the same, you know, like it's they're definitely going for a specific kind of actress. Like you're looking for this sorority house kind of gal, and like mission accomplished, but also like it just feels so vapid. You know what I mean? Like you think of if it's a 50-year-old 40-year-old remake of a 70s movie, like they might have done something a little bit more. I don't know. I think they were just going for gasps, right? It was Christmas, and we're gonna get people out in the movies. That was the plan.
Yeah, I hear it's not an exact remake of the 1974 version. That it's a reimagining, a loose reimagining. So I wonder if maybe that one has more to say. But that was the other thing. It's kind of grisly, and a lot of times good horror has something to say. It's got a message or a theme, and there wasn't really any of that. And it is a little bit of a mystery of like who, because it's clear that there's more than one killer, and we know that eventually it's revealed that there's a secret sister daughter to Billy Lentz, and that she has come back, and so it's a little bit of who done it, because you assume it's maybe someone in the house, but you're not sure who. So a little bit of that. There's this whole thing of characters kind of crawling through the crawl spaces in the house, because it's a big sorority house. There's multiple rooms and multiple floors, and so a lot of it is like the killer's like going under the house and through the walls and up in the attic and all this like maneuvering in ways the rest of us can't. So there's a little bit of mystery there. It's a little underwhelming though.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know it's from the makers of Final Destination, right? So surely it's got a little bit of that DNA in it, right? Like, it's especially having Mary Elizabeth Winstead in there seems like a layup.
Yeah, it's definitely taking notes from that the mid 2000s like teen comedy or horror, things like Not Another Teen Movie, or like you said, Road Trip, American Pie series. It's definitely a little bit in that vein. It's just it's lacking, and it did okay. I think it just kind of broke even box office wise, but it's not as inspired as something like Final Destination.
Mm. Well, I gotta know. Coming down to it, would you recommend Black Christmas? 2006 is Black Christmas.
I would say probably soft pass if you're a horror head and you're looking to complete your slashography and or pay tribute to Michelle Trachtenberg. I probably should have found a better movie of hers to watch or something. I feel kind of bad. I was like, this wasn't the one to pay tribute to. But but if you're a fan of horror and you've seen the 74 and maybe the more recent 2019 version, why not? It is only 85 minutes. It's not super long. So
I
yeah,
gotta send you.
skip it unless you're really interested.
I gotta send you a DVD of Euro Trip. That's the answer. That'll get you straightened right out. Surprise Matt Damon appearance in Euro Trip. Boy, I only watched one other thing this week. I rewatched Saturday Night, the film from a few years ago, the Jason Reitman film. It's the 90 minutes leading up to Saturday Night Live. We talked about this a few years ago on the show when it came out, and it's a
It was
good
last
time.
year.
It was
It was
last
last
year. We talked about
fall.
this a few months ago on the show when this came out, and it was a good time. But I ended up watching it late at night because it hit Netflix again. Better on rewatch. Gonna be honest, good pace, a lot of fun. Actually, a good time. I liked it fine before, but would recommend. Anyway, that's Saturday Night. Any desire to ever revisit that movie, Andy? I can't imagine you're ever gonna watch it again. Like, it's just
Not really. It didn't really kind of hit me, and I feel like I got it all in the first. It is very very fast paced, and I think it is good technical filmmaking. There's lots of very long, complicated shots that look like they probably had to be rehearsed really carefully. We get some good performances by Gabriel LaBelle as Lauren Michaels, and not Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, whose name
yes.
is escaping me at
Me
the
too.
at the moment. He's Cooper Seymour Hoffman.
Cooper
Um,
Hoffman. Yeah.
Cooper Hoffman
Yeah.
he's really good as well. Fun cast. It kind of missed, and everyone who's been on SNL like kind of disparaged the movie too. Chevy Chase was like, "That's not how it was. What's this? They're making all this stuff. Like, come on, man. Like, throw him a bone.
Yeah, Chevy Chase is like one of the major players in the movie. This is like the night his career is taking off, and Willem Dafoe's character, one of these NBC producers, is like, "You're gonna hit it big, kid. We should give you your own show." And he gets all excited, and even in reality, Chevy Chase is like, "That's not how it happened at all. That's garbage." I love it.